Ichimoku set up here. We breached through the 2-hour cloud. I think we're going to make a pretty big push soon.
On BTC?
On BTC. We saw a same $1,000 to $2,000 move. And I don't know if you could tell this is an ascending pattern right here.
Bobby, you're okay if I... Oh, there you go. Your Twitter is already posted.
Yeah, it should be up.
Yeah, people are asking on Twitch already.
That's a double top on the Twitch right now. We see there on the BTC.
It is a bit of a double top. It's just going to keep consolidating within this pattern. Once it breaches, it'll make an exaggerated move. What I like to do is start with the top-down analysis. Go to the higher time frames and then analyze the smaller ones.
Man, I'm sitting here waiting for my Neo to go back up.
For guys on Twitch and on Discord on the learning tools section, I have some valuable info. Also, Ichimoku Clouds is there. You can read up some really good tools in there.
Yeah, thank you so much for throwing that in there. I've really been hawking that these past weeks.
Bobby, can you explain us a little bit about Ichimoku?
I would love to hear that.
Yeah, so zooming out to the daily cloud here. If you zoom out, BTC is definitely parabolic. We haven't dropped below the day cloud support in a long time. So it's safe to say as long as it's riding above here, we're definitely pretty bullish. And if you zoom in, you can see where it finds support. It struggled a little bit here. When it crosses the green cloud into the red, that's called a Kumo twist. Right here was definitely the danger zone. If we dropped a little lower, we could have run the risk of having a bubble pop. But the fact that we tightened up here and broke above the downtrend resistance, it's definitely a good sign. So what I look for with Ichimoku trading is a breach in the cloud, making for an edge-to-edge trade, and a breach above is definitely a green light.
I mean, we'd be expecting a correction soon, right? I mean, being overbought right now, a lot of people jumping in on the peak, buying into the peak.
I think it looks like on the 30-minute, it's going to close above 17 with a red hammer.
It's sitting on what, 75%, 76% almost.
Yeah, I'm going to throw up the fibs here. Looks like I lost visual, guys.
Just toggle auto on and off.
Rip.
Let's see if I could get this refreshed.
For the guys on Twitch and the guys on Discord, every show host has to chart through a remote machine, so it's a bit hard. So
yeah, so it looks like the chart reset itself. Whoever was using this before threw up some Elliott waves.
yeah, that would be Junior Lancaster.
This is interesting stuff. I do like Elliott waves, but it's not my specialty.
Right, but I love it too, man. Are you? Is this GDAX? GDAX
Can't even
Bitcoin.
tell.
Me? Or are you talking about the exchange?
The stream is that GDAX Bitcoin or is that Binance or? Because I'm watching GDAX.
Updated BTC and TA.
Sorry
And
for the
fun.
delays, guys. Some technical difficulties.
It's all right. It's a remote machine. I understand exactly how you feel right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Junior, log out the team viewer. It'll be better.
Yes, yeah, we got multiple people on it right now, but we just set up our own account for TradingView. That's why we're having a quick issue here, guys.
Fucking didn't even know where that music was coming from. Donut bot.
DJ Donut Bot.
Why is it? Yeah. Okay. Just another one I have to mute. Yeah, it's called Donut Bot now.
I turned it down a little bit.
It's just skipping all over the place. And also incredibly surprising when music all of a sudden starts from nowhere.
So Poloniex or Bittrex, do you guys think?
Depends for what coin you're looking at. You know, depends if a specific coin has more volume on one or the other. For me, at least.
And also the amount of different coins as well.
And the ability to short certain coins on Polo was very nice.
Yeah.
All right, looks like you got a clean slate here, Bobby.
All right. Looks good.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
That 30-minute MACD on BNB BTC just can't stop, won't stop.
Do you think it's a dream to have BTC go higher tonight?
I came to my senses and got out of alt, so yeah, let's go for it.
I don't know. I'm not sold on it. Who's the German guy speaking earlier?
And we've been kind of back and forth about what we think Bitcoin was going to do. Pretty much in the past week, you know, it was dipping pretty low, and people were like, "Is it ever going to recover? The alts are taking over." I mean, this is the pattern that's been happening the past few months, where you can expect a correction to be made, and you know, BTC will have a nice run up again. And like I said, and some of us have said before, I mean, we do expect it to go back to 20K and beyond. We just, you know, you never know when it happens, but definitely it's starting to look like it's a nice turnaround for it to continue on its current run.
It's a matter of time, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just going to go from 17K straight to 20K. You know, it's still going to, correct itself and go up and down.
Are all the trading tools that you guys use as pros, are they available on the free version?
I believe so.
They
90%.
You can't load them up like you guys do.
Right, they're available, but you can only use, I think, 3 indicators at the same time.
Unless you have the paid version.
You can open up a second window with the exact same coin and open, and then put those indicators on it.
True. Don't they give you a free month on Pro?
You have to use a credit card, I
You get a
think.
free month, and the only thing that's restricted is the volume profile. Basically, all the other indicators are in the free version.
Yeah, might get some like horizontal volumes. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the volume profile. That's in the paid version. only.
Actually focused on Bobby's work right now. His secrets.
Yeah, if you I mean, if you've been watching us just the past few days, you should be seeing some gains. I don't think the pro version should be too much of an issue.
Is there a way to look at the order book as well on TradingView?
I heard that there was via plugin. I'm not sure. I haven't explored it, but it would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Fun fact about Ichimoku was created by a journalist. It's one of the easy, it might look complicated, one of the most straightforward and easy indicators you can use. And I think I have a PDF posted. You can read about Ichimoku in the learning tools section. It's really good, interesting read. I love this indicator personally.
Bitcoin's getting squeezed on the 1 minute.
Ethereum's gaining some traction. Litecoin still dormant.
Stellar still in a dive.
Five men posted.
Wow, this is my worst day ever trading. So far.
Your 5 minutes cut off pretty bad. Oh, I guess not.
No, it's not cut off.
Yeah.
Zoomed in.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh man, you see that movement? Good gosh. Go, go.
It was like a tug of war, and then somebody tripped.
Yep, that was crazy.
What are we tripping over?
Bitcoin just went through a squeeze and a half. It was 72 versus 50, and then the buys won. Big green candlestick.
Damn it.
I love watching people charting. I like stealing techniques.
Now, after you chart something on TradingView, do you just link it and it instantly shows it up on Discord?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, you can. There's like a small camera icon. You click on that, it takes a screenshot, and you can share it.
All right, so Bitcoin's all set up here. We're just waiting for a breakout out of this pattern. It's definitely tested and broken this ceiling twice and come right back down. So I think we got another hour to go before we see a move. In the meantime, you guys want to see any altcoins?
We would love to. First of all, what are you? Yeah, what are you?
Hey, let the first person speak and try not to talk over each other, please.
Yeah, well, what are you bullish on? What are you holding? First of all, let's see your portfolio.
Apart from First Blood, I guess, which you're shilling.
So the only two long-term holds I have right now that I'm bullish on for 2018 include Ethereum, which I've purchased at 290, looking at that ascending triangle breakout. I'll show you in a minute. Actually, I trade the USD pair.
You said 2, right? What's the other one?
The other one's Enigma.
Really?
Yeah, we're come on, guys. It's an easy. We're big fans of Enigma. All of us, I think. We've been talking it for weeks.
Yeah, it's really hard to not be bullish on Enigma. They have an all-star team. The guys, I actually speak to them one-on-one. I know them personally. The entire team's from MIT. They collaborate with ex-professors. Really intelligent guys, solid guys. They are cited many times within the community.
What do you think it could reach?
I'd be surprised by end of year 2018 if Enigma doesn't reach $20.
Isn't Enigma having collaboration with MIT?
They are actually promoted by MIT. They have a venture capitalist group for businesses that are created or that it's an incubator group. It's called the STEX. There's like a top 15 businesses outside of MIT. They get funding from people within the community.
Enigma's had a pretty good buy-in too right now.
Yeah, it's just hit a massive low for it. This is too good to be true. Where's the fallout? What was the white paper like?
So the white paper is actually very complicated. Most people can't read it. If you go into it, you'll just see a bunch of formulas that if you'd really have to go to MIT to understand. It's at that level. I've been really stressing to the team to try to dumb it down so people could understand. We are pushing some kind of graphics. The main point of Enigma is that it provides secret contracts, similar to how Ethereum provides smart contracts, but it adds that layer of privacy within the protocol. Enigma is in fact a protocol. It's not simply just an ERC20 token. They're going to build upon it. They're going to have master nodes, possibly in Q4 2018.
And aren't they going to be able to they're implementing some security or different things like that for other coins? So it's not even going to be there's not going to be a competition almost for them.
Yeah, so the competition's really scarce. That's the big selling point for Enigma. And they're the guys to execute something as big as they're trying to accomplish. They're working with big data. And data nowadays is worth more than the people that create it.
I bought in at 67 cents and I made a little profit. And then I got out and stopped watching it just because it was stagnant for so long. And now it's $5. And I'm like, what the? Oh my God.
Yeah, I've been buying Enigma since it was 30 cents and it hit $7. That was the previous high.
So I guess, Bobby, I guess you're a fan of ADA as well, if you like teams behind a coin.
a thing I'm pretty big on, besides the teams that are behind the projects, because everyone's a genius in the crypto space, right? You have to be a certain level. You have to have a certain level of intelligence to just create a coin. But I look more so at the economics because we are traders, and I could care less about who's behind the project. I look at token metrics, and ADA is something that throws up a red flag for me, just for the fact that there's so many in circulating supply.
Okay, that's promising to hear because it's the same for me. Yeah, it's interesting.
So while some people may be long-term bullish on it, I tend to not put my faith in the development team as much.
So you're not bullish on Cardano at all?
I'd have to look more into it to be bullish. Just looking from the outside in, my perspective on the metrics isn't bullish.
So you just look for low supply.
In mid cap or low supply, anything within the top 100 is fair play. But if a coin debuts at over $1 billion valuation, there's something wrong with that. Like IOTA and Cardano did, it just gives you less room to play.
So Ripple?
I concur.
Is Junior or Single Player doing the charts right now on Twitch?
It's Bobby Axelrod. We have his Twitter. You can follow him. He has a really big following base. I am one of his followers.
They were just asking in the chat. Just wanted to let everybody know.
Yeah, so you guys follow me on Twitter at ONEX Capital.
And I also will post his Twitter on the lobby on Discord. I'm a fan. I'm a follower for some time now. I'm happy he's with us.
Yeah, man, I'd love to start following you on trading.
Bobby, they're asking what's your name on TradingView so they can follow your charts.
Same thing, Bobby Axelrod on TradingView. If you find me on Twitter, I have all the relevant links you need. TradingView, Discord. I post up all the charts, free ideas. You can take a look.
Thank you, greatly appreciated.
For sure.
So I have a question for you guys.
Yeah, what's up, shoot?
If a lot of you are trading based off of increasing your Satoshi count, if you're seeing that the alt you're in is increasing dollar-wise, but the Satoshi isn't, would you get out of it even though the Satoshi went down?
You might have to repeat that.
I mean, it means the Satoshi value. Yeah, it means the Satoshi is being valued. It is being increased in value at the same rate as your whatever other alt you're in. It's still worth.
Yeah, this is philosophical. We always have this philosophical discussion here. Always.
Hey Bobby, what's your Twitter name?
It's at ONEX Capital.
It's posted on. It's posted on lobby on Discord, and I am going to post it again on Twitch for you guys. Follow. Really good work.
Definitely appreciate it as always.
I think we're on another tug of war on BTC.
Yep.
Yeah, GDAX is climbing.
Looks like we are crowning. Looking for a breakout here on Bitcoin. So we're looking for a measured move here. Every time you see an ascending breakout, the leg going up from it is typically how big the strength is going to be. So what you want to do when you chart is backtest a lot. We started from this symmetrical triangle breakout, made a couple continuation patterns going forward. We're up. Bitcoin likes to do 10%, 15% moves. A move like this from here, this is the beginning of the session of the day. It probably moved a total of 20%. That's a pretty big move. That's the kind of move that flips on the circuit breakers for CME and CBOE futures trading, where people are trading swaps that are cash settled. Once those go offline, Bitcoin's free to roam. It's free to pump, and the actual fiat exchanges take over.
Hey, Bobby, it's David over here. Nice to meet you. Can you have a chart of what you're describing with that leg up?
Yeah, we're looking at Bitcoin right now. Did you want to see anything in particular?
Yeah, are you talking about that leg up that went up in the past half an hour from like 16,850 to that 17,400 around that amount of jump?
So the beginning of this measured move started with the breakout of this pennant when we broke the downtrend resistance. That in this area here, I'm about to highlight it.
Where are you showing that? I want to be able to see that. Is there someplace you're sharing that information on the
It's on the
screen?
Twitch stream.
I'm on the
Someone
stream.
link
I'm the guy behind the chart.
Yeah, someone link him the Twitch for me.
Where is it? Where's that stream exactly?
Someone posted in TA. Look in technical analysis and click that link.
All you have to do, guys, to find the Twitch stream is in the very top user list in Discord under VIP. The second one down says live Twitch stream. You click on that, click watch, takes you right to it. Super simple.
Yeah, there's also a link on the left side where you see the text channels right under Twitch. It says Twitch stream. That's the link there as well.
So, I don't know. Call me what you will. I'm checking out your charts, Bobby. And do you think Digibyte is still on course for what you projected?
Right. So I was going to get to the short-term bullish on Digibyte, see a coin, Zcash. Let's get to Digibyte. The thing is, while Bitcoin does its thing and makes a run, typically altcoins get bearish. They'll take a bit of a dump, but mid-cap and small-cap coins like Digibyte typically retain some sort of value because they're seen as cheap coins. The market sentiment and the psychology behind coins like Digibyte is like, let's pick some up because it's under $1.
Right.
And it's counterintuitive because the circulating supply is in the billions. Any trader worth their salt would realize that at 15 cents, Digibyte is vastly overvalued. But with the amount of new money pouring in, they're just buying this thing up like it's candy. You can see what's promising here with the volume spikes. That's always a good sign when you're looking for a day trade.
So I have a question for you. When did you start to see that breakdown, man?
On which coin?
As far as Digibyte, because I mean, I saw the same thing, and I just want to see what your correlation is and what your breakdown was as far as figuring out that process.
So
other than you know the idea and non-TA side of it, as far as just I guess was it currency and finances and all that other stuff.
When you're looking for a breakdown, you want to stay objective, and you always want to have a Bitcoin chart open. So when I switch on the power to the computer, first thing I do is open the Bitcoin chart before I check my short-term trades. If Bitcoin says it's okay to trade alts, I'll go ahead and do so.
Well, no, that's not my question. So you've bought in, right? But I'm assuming you bought in before the target of which you're before whatever you're charting right now.
It's Digibyte.
Right. No, I'm saying I know it's Digibyte, but from the time interval that you're in right now, whatever days, what is that, the 5th through the 7th? You know what I'm saying? So before that, where did you spot that
the trade?
Yeah, the beginning of the trade.
So doing a little bit of backtesting here, you can see this huge consolidation pattern, right? When you see something like this, a lot of sideways movement, bouncing around, this is bullish. To be honest, I actually cut this at 80 Satoshi.
You caught Digibyte at 80 Satoshi.
So right around here.
I caught it at 50. So I definitely wanted to see what his breakdown was.
Yeah, it looks like you caught her at the bottom of wave 2.
Yeah, man, that's amazing. Caught it at 50. Holy shit.
Hey, language.
Sorry.
I mean, I think most people would say that because
Well, that's the idea of
I know,
you
yeah.
are a wave guy. You know, you want to be buying in at the bottom of wave 2, and that's where it is right here.
So you see that blue box? That's where I bought in. Typically, I'm not even looking at the Digibyte chart so much as I'm looking at the Bitcoin chart. Bitcoin had a pretty good run right around here at 80 Satoshi when the panic cycle took over, right? In Digibyte, everyone was feeling euphoria at the top when it hit 2000 Satoshi, and then it started dumping. Here's where capitulation started taking over. The onset of fear continued to dump downward, and the cycle just repeated for a few months. So up until August, it was just untradeable between August and December. Beginning of December, when things started to settle down, Bitcoin topped off at 20,000. That's when I'm like, okay, the time to look at alts has arrived. I see things that are bottomed out accumulating. I'm just gonna extend this blue box right here. That is
Bobby,
what you want to see.
Sorry. Quick question. Do you ever look at the itchy cloud formations, and if you see a formation that looks like the country of Mexico, do you make a trade?
What?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Just
Yeah,
look at
he's comparing.
It totally does.
It doesn't look like Mexico.
He's like, well, we got a pattern. All right, bye.
So when you see the cloud, it looks like Mexico. You wanna hop the border, pick some up, and then cross over.
Wow. Hop the border from your other alts.
We call that a canal entry.
It looks more like Oklahoma.
All right, guys,
You wanna
let the guy
you want to
talk.
pick up a trade before you hit the Ichimoku. From here to here is what's known as an edge-to-edge trade, and you want to get a thicker cloud for a better entry. This move right here started at 200 Satoshi. This measured move on the edge-to-edge, if you just wanted to get in and out. I see 3-4 candles here, so that's a really short-term trade. That would have been a 100% move. But we have some vision here, and we could see that a new market cycle started. So doing some fractal analysis, I'm gonna grab this pattern that we saw here. This one that we see here. You can draw a correlation between the two. I'm expecting this next burst upward to match this 1000 sat move right here.
No way.
Do you see the correlation between the two?
I saw it. Oh my god, your love, bro. Your love. I'm so happy.
I mean, no, okay. Let's calm down. So we see the correlation between the two, but do you seriously think that an altcoin that when the industry is now so aware of altcoins, do you think you'll still see such a peak as you did back in June?
Yes, because there's a whole lot more new money that's still coming in, man.
Yeah, the basic knowledge you need to gather here is that the sentiment is bullish. There's new money coming in. Binance and Bittrex has shut down new signups. There were previously, before they shut it off, they were getting 100,000 new signups a day, similar to Coinbase. Coinbase was getting 100,000 signups a day. They're struggling. Coinbase is struggling, actually. Their support is non-existent, and they're hiring hundreds of new people this quarter. So just that fact alone should let you know that alts are in play.
So
when people go
so
ahead.
just no, it's fine. Sorry, I interrupted. So despite the fact that so you're saying despite the fact that many more people are aware of altcoins and their power and everything like that, you would say that there is volume. I guess you could say there is money volume to support the same kind of impact that it had back in June again. Yeah.
Yeah. So what people don't take a look at, and they should actually pay attention to more, is the coin market cap total size. You have to look at the total market cap of the cryptocurrency asset class. A month ago, it started at 500 billion. Now it's up to 800 billion today. So we're just shy of $1 trillion. Everything is psychological in this market. We love whole numbers. We're quickly going to fill that gap, that $200 billion gap, and get to $1 trillion. And within that time period, when Bittrex and Binance starts opening their doors, money's going to flow into the altcoins. Coins under $1, they're going to be first pick of the draft. People are going to buy into things like Digibyte, and it's going to you're going to see an expansive wave up for a lot of these coins.
It is a
But
bull market.
Bobby, there are also many other coins on the market now as opposed to past June. So while Digibyte might be in the lower price range, there's so many more choices now. So how do we know that it can make that same type of crazy move?
You look for pattern.
You got to look for a beginning of a new market cycle.
But also, it's an established coin too. A lot of these coins that are lower than $1, haven't been around that much.
Yeah, but some of them have been though. Some of them been like OGs. For instance, S&T had it dropped. It dropped, found its support, and rose over 200% in the last week, bro.
So, what do you think is the comparable coin then to DGB? Something that's been around for a long time, and it's also kind of showing another signal for another spike out.
So what I do, right? This is just for me, right? One of the things that you can just do for a quick little thing, go to CoinMarketCap, right? Look for the same pattern. There are charts that do the same thing. You find a dip in this pattern here. If it was at a high and there was at a low, investigate that. Go back, see what's happening with it. See if there's a pattern, if there's any breakouts. Just like he sat there and pointed out here. That's where we sit there and say, go to that day and work your way down, because you can. It's everything is patterns, bro.
Hey, Bobby,
what do you say on that, Bobby?
I'm having trouble finding you on TradingView. Is it Axelrod _ or is it just Bobby Axelrod?
Bobby dash or hyphen Axelrod.
Technical analysis.
We will have it on the lobby. Bobby will post it for us, the link. Guys, now on Crypto World News, you're watching Live TA by Bobby Axelrod. If you like the channel, share, follow the little heart-shaped button up on the right of the screen. If you want to donate, and also tip the analysts that are on at the time. We have donation addresses on Discord and on Twitch. If you have any questions, we are reading on Twitch and on Discord. Go ahead, Bobby.
Thank you for that. So just carrying on with this analysis that we have here, I'm trying to paint the next targets we have. And there's many different ways you could look at this. We're going to start with the Ichimoku cloud. So we're looking at Mexico over here. And if you see the top of the border, this is typically where a breach of the daily cloud will result into an expensive move upwards. Similar to this first leg we have here, I expect the next one to run up to this fib target. And the reason I can be so confident with these Fibonacci numbers is how you see the price action react many times along the same points. You see the lows here, the new highs here, retesting of the old heights at the same spot, and the calming down of an expansive move right above this fib. So when we do have a breakout, I'm expecting it to reach the top of this cloud. Now that's going to be my first target. Then we're going to go for glory here. Have an even bigger second target at previous all-time high, which I fully expect to be broken.
Do you have a time frame on that?
Time frame, historically DGB follows XRP. So I'd say within a week or 2 weeks, maybe even 3.
While that does look really good, I just calculated, it seems about a 200% jump from now, and that's nice, but it seems like there might be some other coins that might even be a higher percentage. Is that correct? Like, for example, Dent, when I got into Dent, unfortunately, it wasn't that much, but it's up 150x since then. Can you comment on Dent if you think that'll continue going up while the other alts go up as well?
First, you're going to have to clue me in on what Dent actually is. I haven't heard of that coin. Typically, my methodology is I stick to the top 100 coins, older coins, ones that I can back test and analyze.
This is one of those new coins that's just based on like some fucking, well, excuse language, sorry.
Language.
Yeah, well, actually, Dent is not of the newer ones. It was around a couple of months ago. I only bought a few of them because what happened was, like you said, they had like millions of them, and I thought that was oversaturation, and it wouldn't go up so much. At the time, it was like 0.0001 penny or something like that, and now it's somewhere around 15 cents. So it's like 15,000 times what I got in. So, and I realized that I would have put a lot more money into it. I'm just wondering if things like that, even at 15 cents, would continue their way up. Like you said, even if it's irrational, because the newbies will see 15 cents. Hey, wow, that went up so much, it'll go to like $1 or something like that.
Yeah, it's just the phenomenon with penny stocks in a bull market. I mean, it just happens.
That's exactly what it is. It's I want to point to the Dogecoin chart here. This is what I call the dumb money index, right? Anytime you see Doge at a high market capitalization, that's how you can tell dumb money is just flowing into these shitty, so excuse my language, these useless coins under $1. Doge is a meme. It's been around in the community for a long time, but it's definitely not worth 85 cents. And when you see this parabolic move come alive, it just gives you an indicator that while Dogecoin is at $1 billion valuation, other altcoins under $1 will see the same kind of attention. And you alluded to Dent too. I'm not surprised that a coin worth a penny went up to 15 cents. You could say the same for Tron. Tron was at 1 to 15 Satoshi, I forgot which, and made a move up to 2,000 sats, which is pretty ridiculous.
Bobby, I have a question. When you say older coins, top 100, you do that because you like the history of the charts? You like when you have more candles?
It has more attention from the market than most other coins. It's reliable.
And more information in the chart, I guess, in the history of the chart.
Exactly. The more data you have to go off of, the more confident you can be in your trading. So just looking at the weekly chart.
Isn't it also the fact that it has a larger market cap and also might be trading on more exchanges and therefore has more availability to trade amongst people?
Yeah, it's a combination of all those points you guys made. The fact that it's traded in Korea and China definitely helps because those guys, they go crazy for crypto. They pump the most volume into exchanges. The Japanese, they're buying, well, the Koreans too, they're buying more Bitcoin than anybody else.
Yeah, they're actually, I was actually reading some news in Korea. They're recruiting bank staff into crypto exchanges because they're understaffed.
Yeah, it's actually pretty crazy.
Wow, this is amazing analysis, man. I just learned so much in like a half hour. Thank you. I have one question. Something that you said caught my attention. You mentioned a scenario in which price quickly moves and the circuit break kicks in. And you said at that point, what happens? Can you describe? Does that happen both up and down?
Yeah, so the circuit breaker kicks in for the CME and CBOE futures trading at I want to say 15% plus or minus move. Don't quote me on that. Just it would be listed on their website, but whenever there is a huge move, to protect the consumers' money that they're trading with on the fiat futures market, they'll just trigger a switch and cut off the trading. You won't be able to trade for 24 hours.
How does that affect the crypto market? Can you describe like one scenario where we can see where that would happen?
Yeah, so let me go back to the Bitcoin chart.
What are these time frames you're looking at, Bobby? Because it's clipped on my screen, so.
Weekly on Doge. So if we're gonna backtest here, you want to look for a move that's greater than 15%. Doing a bit of time frame analysis here, you want to check what day that was. We're looking at the end of New Year's, actually. New Year's, after New Year's was over, everyone took their profit end year. January 1st, we started to see a bit of movement, and we got a pretty expensive move above 20% for Bitcoin. We went up positive $2,000. So something like that kind of expensive move would have triggered the circuit breakers. And when that happens, Bitcoin's free to trade, which means no one's going to be shorting. The bankers, Jamie Dimon, anyone on Wall Street, clients of Goldman Sachs, when they get on a futures exchange, the first thing they want to do is short Bitcoin because they don't recognize it as an official asset class. They think it's traded purely on speculation. There's no intrinsic value behind the digital currency. In fact, they probably don't even consider Bitcoin to be a digital currency because it's not widely accepted. You have to use things like BitPay, which is increasingly becoming a headache to use to even transact with Bitcoin on a day-to-day basis. So they're seeing a valuation of 20 grand to be too much. Right about here where we topped off was actually the day CME was introduced. This is called the Black Swan event, when you have an event in the outside world that takes a direct effect or has an influence on the price. So personally, when I saw the news of CME, while everyone was bullish on it, thinking that Wall Street's gonna pump billions of dollars into Bitcoin, we're gonna be rich, it's gonna go to $100,000. Everyone was feeling what's called euphoria, and that's a dangerous thing. When you hear the media talk about Bitcoin on the news, what I think is that it's time to short it as opposed to go long on it. Reason being is because the new money's flowing in and the smart money is slowly stacking up their shorts. And traditionally, when a CME futures market goes live, and you to be a good trader, you have to do your research. You have to understand these things. When CME goes live, it really has a negative effect on these markets. People, they enter and they start shorting the hell out of everything they see, especially something as speculative as Bitcoin.
Bobby, can you please explain about the shorting process? Because from what I understand with the CME is they're just betting on futures, whereas the actual real market of Bitcoins are people like us or others or even whales that actually own the Bitcoins. So just because people are betting that it might go down doesn't mean, like for example, my brother bought 25 Bitcoins 2 years ago. It doesn't mean he's going to go into his treasure and just start selling it just because the CME says that they want to short it. So isn't it sort of like horse betting where they might be betting that the horse is going to win or not, but it doesn't actually affect the real horse? I'm a little bit confused how the CME affects the actual sellers.
So the way futures trading works is, let's say you're trading coffee bean futures. You are a Frenchman and you cultivate beans, and it's the middle of winter. You think the supply of beans is going to be down, so you're going to short coffee bean futures as a Frenchman. Say you're in Montana in the USA. The coffee bean season is great. There's a lot of demand for it. You have a lot of supply. You're going to go long on it. there's a balance between the two. There's people going long and short at the same time, which should stabilize the price. This is why you have the CEO of CME going on record saying we're going to tame the beast that is Bitcoin so they can control the price. The way they do that is they bet on the price going up and down with cash. Their clients do that. And in return, CME takes that cash and buys and sells the Bitcoin on their behalf. It's not betting on a racehorse per se. They're actually, what I think they're doing is actually taking the client's money and trading on their behalf, but the contracts are settled using real cash. It's the clients never touch Bitcoin, and they have no reason to. They don't want to take that risk. And there's a reason we also saw a volume drop off. If looking back to CME, you see right around here at 20,000 when CME debuted, volume really dropped off for a couple weeks. It went on a downtrend. Reason being is because big players on Wall Street, they didn't want to speculate on the asset itself. They didn't want to trade Bitcoin. They wanted to go on the safer route and trade CME contracts, which is cash settled. Why would you go through the trouble getting your cash, your fiat, in and out of an exchange if you could buy a contract and have CME settle the trading on their own?
So are you saying that the CME actually goes out and buys, let's just say, thousands of Bitcoins? Because they'd have to have a few thousand Bitcoins in order to actually have a real effect on the market. I mean, you could have 100 Bitcoins, even 1,000 Bitcoins, dump them. It might go down a little bit, but there's so many other people out there. I mean, like 16 million Bitcoins out there that you'd really need a much larger move in the market. Like, I don't know, a 5% move, a 10% move, some massive move to really crash it down that much.
Yeah, CME's not playing around. They don't let day traders play on their platform. They have a contract in which you need to have a 30% margin, trading at least 5 Bitcoin. So let me do a little bit of math here. 5 Bitcoin times 17,000 is 85 grand. You would have to have 30% of 85 grand in order to be trading one contract on the CME exchange. In return, with that leverage, CME would take 85,000 or the 5 Bitcoin equivalent, go to a Bitcoin traded exchange, purchase the Bitcoin, and trade on the client's behalf.
Do we know how many clients actually went for this? So do we have like an approximate count of the total amount of Bitcoins they were playing around with?
We don't really. We can't have that information.
You would have to have access to the platform itself, which I don't.
It's not like it's not public knowledge, for the accounts to like say how many Bitcoins they're playing with, what their capital is in this market.
It could be. You'd have to do a little bit of research
For
on
the CME, you can check the order book. I linked it in the lobby.
Can anyone look at it and give us an actual number of the total Bitcoins these guys are shorting? I just want to know like what we're dealing with. Are these guys like the biggest whales in the world?
Well, that
So we
I
had
don't
for
I don't think that
January
really
a volume
matters.
of
They're Wall Street.
814 contracts, 814 each.
Hey guys, this is Constantine, one at a time. Bobby, can you answer that about they're the biggest whales playing right now in the CME? Because this is a win-win situation for both the clients and.
Yeah, so the thing is, they're whales in the aspect that they have more money than you and me. They're clients of big banks such as TD Ameritrade, Chase Bank, Citibank, Goldman Sachs, big names like that. They're all Wall Street names, and they don't take on clients like us that trade a couple grand here and there. They take on clients that have millions and millions in their portfolio. There might be, flamboyant billionaires such as Richard Branson that might want to trade a CME contract and do it through a bank as a client. And when a bank takes on that sort of client, they'll allow them to trade within the Bitcoin CME futures exchange.
Yeah, that sounds logical.
So it's definitely whales playing within that market.
Thank you.
Sorry, I have a question and then also some other info about futures. Do you think that the futures will have a positive effect in the long run, stabilizing the Bitcoin market?
Short term?
Long term.
Okay, long term. To be honest, Bitcoin is still. We had a previous market known as BitMEX, which trades Bitcoin futures, but it's settled in Bitcoin as opposed to cash. The price of BitMEX, even though it's known as a futures exchange, actually follows the price action of an exchange itself. So Bitfinex has to move up 10% before BitMEX realizes that Bitcoin is bullish and breaks out on its own. Sometimes it's the opposite, but that's just how predictive markets move. To be honest, it's bullish long term, but short term I think it's bearish because massive speculators are going to come in and short the hell out of Bitcoin.
Do you have an approximate price for when they would do that? Like we're talking about 18,000, or when we get to 20,000, like what number do you think they would start shorting it?
I mean, looking at the bigger picture here, I was actually bullish when we hit. I saw a fractal around. Let me zoom in and I'll backtest a little bit here.
Can you define fractal?
Fractal is when you see a reoccurring pattern.
Got it.
So can you just chime in with one thing? So right now there's 814 contracts that are shorted to the price.
Not necessarily
January
shorted.
18th. So 800 contracts, each contract is 5 Bitcoins.
Open.
That gives you the kind of volume they're operating with.
5 Bitcoins each, that's 4,000 Bitcoins worth of open contracts currently.
So that would be definitely a whale, but who knows if that's the biggest whale, but it's a whale.
No, I mean, that's all the guys playing in the market at the futures market right now. It doesn't
Right,
feel
and
that
some of them
big.
are going long and some of them are going short. It's not like they're all going one way.
Exactly, they are just trading with each other, yeah.
I just posted a chart in the YouTube Twitch live text. I'm just curious if Bobby thinks that breaking out of this triangle means it's going to go back down to resistance, and breaking up means it'll go past the top line.
Hey, Liquin is making some moves. Check it out.
Posted in TA instead.
Just on the 1 minutes though. So
What
not
ticker
really.
was that?
So here you can see a reoccurring pattern. We had a move going up here. You topped off and did a little bit of bouncing around within the hourly cloud. Same thing happened here. If you were buying at the bottom here, you were a genius because you saw the previous fractal. And this is actually where I bought in. It bounced around twice. You don't want to catch a falling knife here because there's a chance it could go bearish. So typically the point where I would buy back in is on the second drop off, which you also saw happen here. And I thought we were, after the fractal played out, it was doing its thing, going sideways for a couple days, which I expected. Then it made this same expensive move up. We went up like another $5,000. I thought we were going to go up another 10, but the move got cut short. My original target was 25 to 30,000. We topped off at just shy of 20 grand. And the catalyst being here was the CME's introduction, which Wall Street came in and just shorted the hell out of Bitcoin.
So if they didn't get involved, it really would have gone to 25. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I'll show you the price targets here between this breakout in the first fractal and the second fractal. That was a 60% move on the first one.
So that also means if we hit 20,000 now, they can kind of do the same thing and send it back down to 16 or 17,000.
This is what CME did. They shorted it down 50%, 40 to 50%.
So the second time the fractal went up, it only went up 20% versus 60. So it was basically like 1/3 of the way where it should have gone.
I think it's pretty safe to say that's the case.
The question is, if we go to 20,000 now, which I think we will hit 20, are they going to short it, and will that send it down, whatever, to 16, 17,000? I don't think it's going to go all the way down to the 11. But what do you think? What is your thoughts on it hitting 20? Are we going to go past that or come back down?
My target for Bitcoin is actually 25 to 30,000 as it stands. Reason I say that is because CME and anyone trading futures contract is about to get a nice big wake-up call and realize that the people actually trading the spot prices of Bitcoin on exchanges like Bitfinex have control of the market. You have Bitfinex printing tethers. They just recently printed 300 million tethers within the past 3 weeks. They're pumping up the price themselves, and that's not any small feat, right? That's more than $250 million market cap. That's a market maker move.
Exactly.
So what
veteran crypto traders, we know what Bitfinex is doing and how it's doing it.
Yes, sir.
But do you see any resistance at 20, or it's just going to huddle around there a little bit and then blow right past it?
That's a good question. Let's see what Fibonacci tells us.
Can I just say, this is so educational. Thank you for what you're doing for this community.
Yeah, no problem.
ABC's 1 minute candles are pretty high.
Stop it.
Almost lost half my Satoshis today.
Bobby, can you just tell us the low and high point of where you're placing the Fibonacci? Because I know about Fibonacci, but I don't understand where to place it in this scenario.
So if you're doing a short-term analysis, you want to do it on the local. Well, first you want to start on a higher time frame, right? I'm looking at the 4-hour chart here. You want to look at the local top, and I'm going to highlight it.
What number is the local top?
That's just below 20,000.
So that's going to be the bottom of the fib or the top of the fib?
That'll be the top of the fib, and then the bottom of the fib goes where the local bottom is, where the bottom of the 50% move was. That's right around 11 to 10,000. So that's half of the value of Bitcoin lost within a short time frame. This all happened within the past 30 days.
So the bottom of the fib at 10, the top at about 20?
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
How do you see the BTC market dominance going forward, and market share in general? Do you see like BTC eventually consolidating everything? What do you see?
Could you please clarify the question?
So BTC had a huge market dominance, right? I mean, began with 100,000. It kept going down to all the way. What this week it hit its lowest, 32% of the crypto market share, and now it looks like it's rebounding a little bit. Do you have any prediction, any sentiment on that?
Yeah, I don't know if you were here when I mentioned a little while ago that my sentiment remains bullish, short to medium term. We've broken critical resistance points at $16,000, and I'll show you why that's critical resistance here in a second.
Oh, I was asking regarding market dominance, like which share of the crypto market will Bitcoin have?
So right now, let me look it up. CoinMarketCap has that data. Right now, total market cap is 815 billion. The market dominance of BTC is at 36%. That's up about 2% of what it was 2 days ago. Short term, as we rally, Bitcoin will definitely take some volume out of altcoins. Just not as much as you think it would, because most coins have completed their market cycle, and the amount of volume these exchanges are seeing shows the kind of attention altcoins are getting. So I expect it to move up to maybe somewhere between 40 to 50% BTC dominance, and that's a pretty bullish outlook.
Is it fair to say that the big money that's coming in mostly will go towards Bitcoin?
At this point, the market has matured to the point where people want to invest in the next Bitcoin. They don't want to hold Bitcoin at this point, since there's a couple difficulties with scaling, and they'll recognize that diversification is kind of a need in this market in 2018 until we see Lightning Network adopted.
And I agree with you 100% with the individual investor. I'm talking about the institutional investors that are dropping, millions or billions of dollars. Are they going to be gravitating towards Bitcoin?
Everybody just see the 650 ledger entry on a sell for Bitcoin at 17,160. 650 Bitcoin.
Wow.
Yeah, the Bears won't let it go past 115 on GX.
That's not going up anytime tonight. It's not going to get past that.
Yeah.
Which exchange is that on?
It's on Bitphoenix.
Yeah, GDAX, I'm looking at a 40 wall. Here we go. Bye-bye.
I think Bitcoin's going down tonight.
Yeah, every time we say that, I go into alts and I get murdered.
Sorry, I interrupted you, Bobby.
No problem. I believe someone had a question.
Bobby, you can read that if you want, that Twitch questions as well, if you want, or you want me to read them if they have any.
Yeah, please, just whatever anyone's requesting, I could look over.
All right, so Twitch crowd, do you have any questions for Bobby?
Yeah, I'm just curious if Bitcoin breaks the 17,000, because it's coming down right now. You think it might keep on coming down, towards the 16 range, 15 range, that type of thing?
So what we have is the Fibonacci lines to tell you where the price action is occurring. When you break a resistance, that resistance becomes a support. And if you can't hold up a continuation pattern, what's typically going to happen is that the price falls right back to the previous breakout point, which is typically the support level. And you want to really pay attention to the fib levels here when you're trying to look for a relong entry point or a short target.
So it's 50-50. We have a lot of questions, but 50-50 is about LTC and raid blocks.
Sure. So Litecoin.
Any general opinion before we go into TA about both the Litecoin or raid blocks?
Historically, for me, Litecoin is playing second fiddle to Bitcoin. It is the original, I guess you could say, Bitcoin hard fork without being an actual hard fork. It's just a carbon copy, essentially a Chinese knockoff of what Bitcoin actually is. People are loving it because it's fast. It has faster transaction speeds than Bitcoin. They use it for transfers between exchanges like Bittrex to Binance when they're in a pinch. They want to trade a coin that's about to pop. They'll just send LTC as opposed to BTC, which takes hours at this point with the mempool being so clogged to transfer. LTC, if you roll the clock back 2-3 months ago, no one was transacting on that blockchain. It was essentially a shitcoin. Nobody wanted anything to do with it. Nobody wanted to trade it. It had Lightning Network. It had SegWit, basically as a novelty for Charlie Lee to say he did it. He was actually smart doing it, being ahead of the curve, anticipating that the mempool would get clogged up for Bitcoin, given that the blocks aren't being increased. So I do see the utility for Litecoin as a temporary, as a coin that'll fill the gaps that Bitcoin has in scaling. Long term, I'm not as bullish as I am on Bitcoin because I know Lightning Network is coming. I'm sure somebody else had another question.
It's a matter of when Lightning Network, basically.
I was wondering what you think about BNB.
Go ahead.
Walton and BNB. Walton just made his 500, I think.
So there's a couple of people speculating that Binance is going to take a lot of the volume that Bittrex has, considering that Binance is being diligent in adding the ICOs and the newer coins, which was actually a perk that Bittrex used to have while people were trading on Poloniex. So in 2018, I think you're going to see a continuation of that trend. People are going to bounce from exchange to exchange and go where the new trading opportunities lie. When you have coins like ICX, Dragon Chain, really promising tokens like Enigma with all-star teams built around it, the token metrics are perfect. And the protocol is actually better than Bitcoin and the older coins that are traded on those older exchanges. It's too hard to pass up. Good.
Good evening.
Good evening. We don't talk on top of each other, especially when someone is talking, especially the host. Any other questions? Some guy asked how many hours you're looking at charts on a day. That would make me sad if I would count how many hours I look at charts per day, so I wouldn't even start.
Yeah. I spend the majority of my day looking for opportunities because I do run a server and I try to give people signals. So I'm putting up calls on a silver platter for other people typically. For myself, I'll keep 4 trades short term open maximum. I think diversification's for idiots. It's fine if you're a new trader. Diversify by all means. You don't know technical analysis. Do your thing. Protect your stack. That's the number one and most important rule to trading. But if you want to maximize your profit potential, get from $1,000 to $10,000 within 3 months or whatever your goal is, you're going to want to focus on the coins short term that have the best potential. And that requires a lot of research. If you're not researching day in, day out and charting, I want to tell you guys that technical analysis is not a science. Technical analysis is you're analyzing supply versus demand. It's only 20% of the work. You got to understand what the coin is, the metrics behind it, the economics, if there's any fundamentals in play. Everyone here is a retail trader. I can tell that without even getting to know everyone.
I'm a weatherman.
But the point being is that most people don't take the time to do their due diligence. You really want to focus on fundamentals more so than the analysis, so you can catch the wave of buyers that are waiting to jump in.
What about XRB?
Yeah. So as Monkey and Strike, Twitch staff, thank you for being with us again. Do your own research. Mantra is so important. You never know the intentions of people who are shilling coins. It is very, very true in crypto. Go ahead, guys.
What about XRB? We didn't go over XRB.
XRP Ripple or XRB?
XRB as in Brian.
I don't even know if
on TradingView.
You never even looked at it, right?
It's Ray blocks.
Yeah, I've looked at it. Fundamentals wise, I should have jumped on the trade, but I didn't pay enough attention to it, which was my loss. I could have jumped on and made. I took a look at the monthly earnings. It was above 100,000% increase, which is probably going to be for a lot of people the trade of the year. And
are you talking about XRP now, right?
No,
XRP.
Right blocks.
Okay.
Yeah, a month back you could have bought in at $3.
All right. So how about XRP and Lumens, the centralized, decentralized coins with also a high count coin? Too many out there.
Yeah, the only reason XRP is bullish is because they locked up half of their circulating supply. The most recent update, which was about a month ago, the XRP team announced that they put half of the circulating supply within an escrow, which means nobody could touch the tokens. With less circulating supply being on exchanges, that gives traders, that decreases supply and increases demand. When people are given that kind of freedom to speculate, the price typically does what we're seeing now.
The other thing I would recommend to people is to start with a little bit and practice buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Inputting the numbers, executing the trades.
Exactly. You wanna when I first started, I used to do a bunch of paper trades. I used to research, read books, learn how to do analysis, look at other pro traders' charts, learn what makes a good chart. Essentially, what you want to do is learn how to read before you could write. You don't want to make yourself look like an idiot by writing before reading and pretending you're an expert.
Yeah, I'm referring to, a lot of times when a coin crashes, for instance, or there's some gigantic volatility, you get these huge gaps in trade price. And if you're able to get from one side to the other, you can just make 2-3% in seconds, just putting your buys and sells on opposite sides of where the book orders are.
Yeah, hey, the order book is oftentimes a good indicator of what the market's doing. If you see a good buy wall, it's an early sign that volume's about to pick up.
Bobby, if I may ask, did you look into VeChain, and if so, what is your opinion on it?
We never talk on top of each other, especially if someone is hosting. But go ahead.
VeChain.
Barack, when you say the gap in the orders, do you mean like when there's a gap in the depth chart and there's that percentage at the top?
So when, let's say, the first buy order, let's just take Apple Care, whatever that is right now. What you're seeing a lot of times is when there's a panic sell, that the buy orders will be 220, and the sell orders won't start until 2:30. So there's like a 10 Satoshi gap in where the orders are. So if you can put down a buy order right at the front of the line, and the second it gets filled, you put your sell order at the front of the line on the sell side.
I got you.
Monero making interesting move.
I got a question on more of a overview of altcoins. What do you think is better long term for an altcoin to have as its marketing strategy, to better the speed or to go for actual application? So an example would be like ADA versus Tronics or some other alts.
You're asking how should they increase the speed of transactions? That seems like a technical question.
No, long term, what do you think will make the winners in the altcoin market? Those with actual applications or those trying to increase speed?
First things first is you have to build a community. So most people don't think this is important, but it actually is. The reason Bitcoin was so successful is because people speculate on it, traders, and then you have a user base behind it. If people weren't transacting with it, there would be nothing to be speculating on because Bitcoin would have no future. If you want Cardano to be or to retain a top 10 spot, they would have to have a big community that actually uses the coin.
All right. So let's see more of this TA magic and love from Bobby, and take a couple of questions from Twitch. Most promising rising alt coin in the next month, in your opinion? One question I picked. Also, again, Monkey and Strike Twitch staff, thank you for being here. He says it might be off topic, but are you using any resources for tracking your transactions for tax purposes?
I definitely don't want to comment on taxes. That's not my expertise. I don't want to give the wrong advice to anybody or land them in IRS hell. So,
all right, we'll talk about this after the show then. We might give some info on that. So
yes, I have one thing I can say about that. I believe that with the new tax law, if you can trade through an S corp, if you set up an S corp, you'll have a gigantic advantage. But I would suggest that everyone that's doing significant volume to consult a tax attorney.
Thank you,
Everyone
Michael.
that is American, that is.
I see some TA love. What are you charting now, Bobby? Explain.
right now I'm looking at VeChain. Looks like it's had just did the Elliott waves. It's had a 3-step wave. Very expensive. The volume is dying off. I'm gonna zoom out here. You can actually see that the volume's on a downtrend. That's the first indication that you should probably take profits as opposed to think about getting in. I want to measure the move from the beginning of the first wave all the way up to the 5th. So VeChain had approximately an 825% move. I see a double top here, short term. So even if this wave breaks out of an ascending pattern and goes up more, you'd be scalping the top. I know some of you guys are long-term bullish, but you definitely don't want to buy at this level. Any other coins?
Yeah, do you have an opinion on PPT? I bought that in at $1. It's now almost at 50. Do you think that's going to continue going, or are we going to have a retracement on that?
Let's take a look.
Hey, not sure if it's in TradingView. It's a Populous called PPT, but you can see a little bit of, oh, there we go. PPT right over there.
Is this a newer market?
This coin's been around a while. It's got real uses in the invoicing industry.
Huh. Has it been doing this pattern for a long time? It looks like it's been moving sideways.
Yeah, it just broke out fairly recently, but it really shot up from that, like, $3 $4 range to $40 now 40 plus.
I'm gonna see if I could get a better picture here.
So anyone scalping anything right now?
I'm trying to scalp XLM, but I screwed up.
Waiting to see what this BTC thing does with this order that's high. There's some big order in there.
Yeah, I'm looking at PPT. I see this some whale fat-fingered market buy. When you see something like this, it means one of two things. Either the trader was very drunk, he has 100 Bitcoin in his portfolio, he slammed the buy button by accident, or he knows something nobody else knows. So there's a PPT whale out there, guys.
Yeah, well, this coin is supposed to give you residuals, so you can rent it out in the future, get paid, and then get your coin back at the higher rates. It's got a lot of promise.
I'm gonna take a look at the technicals.
Which coin? I'm sorry.
Someone's gonna get muted, guys. When we're doing a show on CryptoWorldNews and Twitch, please make sure you have headphones, or else respected status will be revoked.
Bobby, as a general question, is there any market platforms that you prefer to do business on? Talking like Bitfinex, ONEX, Binance. Is there a preferred for you? Do you have a market that you would like to, or a market platform that you would like to see?
I do not trust Bitfinex. I will not
Really?
trade on it.
Is there any reason behind that? Is just that just because of their
historically, there's no reason to trust an exchange that's been hacked twice or 3 times, however many times it was hacked. They draw way too much media attention for me to be comfortable. I know the feds are on their radar. This is just too much unnecessary attention, right? If you had, I could understand if you had a need to be private and you didn't want to register you didn't want to do KYC AML to trade on an exchange, then you have no other choice but to trade on Bitfinex. But there's increasing growing pains using that exchange. There's speculation that they may be insolvent. They could be essentially Mt. Gox Part 2. So I'm not willing to take that risk. I'll happily trade on Bittrex or Binance.
Cool.
And some trending news. Finance guru James Altucher is launching a cryptocurrency exchange. Okay, might get a new one then.
You mentioned that you're a big fan of First Blood several times over your Twitter feed in the last few days. Then where are you trading that at?
To be honest, I don't even know what First Blood is. I'm just trading it based on the technicals.
Oh.
I'm trading that on Bittrex.
Are you bullish or bearish on it right now?
I'm bullish.
Bobby, Bitcoin keeps on slamming into about 17,000, which looks like support. It's the previous top a couple of hours ago. Do you think that that's a solid support base right now, or can it break that support and go under 17,000?
It's a good question. A couple of you are on BitMEX right now. I'm going to help you find a good long entry for Bitcoin. It's respecting this continuation pattern. I expected it to break out within the hour. I'm okay with being wrong. It just got rejected off resistance. I'm expecting some consolidation within here. I'm going to draw what it's going to look like.
When you say breakout, you're talking about the previous current top of 17,400 in BitMEX?
Yeah, we're double topped here. There's resistance at 17.3, 17.2.
So it could be the rejection of the low is good. That's the bottom for right now. That might be a good entry point, like about now.
Yeah, so you see this ascending support, the green line. What I'm predicting is that it'll probably touch support once more. And that's where you want to enter your long position at. Anywhere within this blue box.
And preferably on the lower line, correct?
Yes, on support.
Thanks.
Yep.
What are you thinking about XLM real quick?
Let's go over to Stellar.
The XRP coupled coin.
Yeah, this coin is very bullish with the kind of moves it's been making. It broke previous all-time high with ease.
Well, the owner, XRP co-founder, owns 25% of Ripple. So I guess all those Ripple gains are going into XLM.
Hey, that's a pretty fair assumption to make. Whenever XRP makes a run and it hits a resistance, the smart money will take profits on Ripple and then move over to Stellar to pump that up.
Exactly. We've been trading with this logic for the last, I don't know, month, and we were profiting. Whenever we see a move and a retrace on Ripple, we would go in XLM and take our profit.
It's actually a smart correlation to make because they are definitely correlated. It's a known fact. Any OG trader would know this and would trade based off that knowledge.
You think there might be a good entry right now? You think it might be bullish?
Let's zoom in and find out.
In theory, we'll have to wait to see what Bitcoin does and what Ripple does in theory, based on our scenario.
Yeah,
of course.
With XLM and Ripple, they're correlated. With XLM and Ripple versus BTC, they're inversely correlated, which means if Bitcoin goes up, those two will go down, and vice versa.
About textbook cup.
Exactly. Actually, I don't know. This cup is actually really exaggerated.
Oh snap! I just looked at Ripple.
That would really surprise me if that turned into a cup. Oh, sorry, handle.
Have you got any thoughts on Verge on a technical and fundamental basis?
Sure, I'll take a look after this.
Let's go one coin at a time, guys.
Bobby is doing his thing.
Got some magic going on.
Call him Houdini.
Sorry for interrupting. I didn't know you guys had a new structure to the show.
Always check Twitch before you jump into the live Twitch and Bitcoin.
Sure.
If you're bullish on Stellar, you want to trade a breakout. You don't want to, whenever it's consolidating within a pattern like this, you just let it do its thing. But right here, along the resistance, if you see an increase, if the volume increases and you see a breakout, that's when you buy in. And then you start looking at fib targets to determine where you want to sell.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Looking at the fib targets in general, what number? How do you figure out what to sell? Are we going at a specific number?
You want to see? That's a good question. Let's zoom out so we could get an answer. So typically when you consolidate and create a bullish continuation pattern, a breakout will result in the same measured move as it had before it started consolidating. So from this accumulation period upwards into this breakout, that's your first leg. I'm going to create a copy of that same leg. Let's pretend it does break out here. That lines up perfectly with the 2 fib targets above where we're at now. This is also another example of why Fibonacci is so important. It determines price action to a T.
Can you move the Fibonacci over so we can actually see the numbers? Because I don't see the Fibonacci numbers.
Sure.
You know, you can put the Fibonacci numbers on the right. I make a habit of that because it's closer to the price that we're currently at. If you go to the settings, there's a way to put them on the right.
Let's do that.
Kind of complicated for now, though.
That's pretty simple. You got to just click on the fib and it says place it on the right side. On the bottom there, you see it says labels on the right. On the bottom, it says left. Move it to the right. I find that's very convenient.
So we have the 141% mark. That's where the target's at. It's also the 1.414 fib.
Okay, so I saw there's a breakout on XRP. How do you think this will respond?
One coin at a time, guys. It's not a breakout. It's a baby candle for now. Nothing dramatic.
Bobby, if you could just show us the low point and the high point of the fib so we know where to place it in this particular example of lumens.
Sure. I'm going to clear the chart. Yeah, so since we had a retrace at all-time high, you want to start there and then go down to where it's first started accumulating.
I also, Bobby, noticed that you pulled it from the top to the bottom. Does it matter if you do it that way or if you go from the bottom to the top? Because I think the numbers seem to reverse when you do it that way.
Yeah, I start from the top to the bottom so you could see the percentage increase.
So is there a method for deciding whether to go bottom to top or top to bottom?
I just typically stick with top to bottom.
Basically, if the majority of traders stick from top to bottom, and we do, you should do it as well.
Oh, I see. That's the majority of how people do it.
Yeah, more or less.
I didn't know that.
Hey, brothers. I'm just looking at Sia Coin. It looks like it took a real serious dip. I'm wondering if you guys think it's a good entry point.
Well, let's finish with this. We'll take a look.
Sorry, I had no idea you guys were doing something. I just jumped in.
C is actually one of the coins I was looking at earlier today.
I apologize. I didn't know we were still doing the interview thing.
Gotta check that Twitch, man.
We are live, Crypto World News on Twitch. Go, guys, on Discord, go ahead and check us TA Magic by Bobby Axelrod. We can all agree it's really good and very technical analysis and less sentimental analysis.
Yeah, so the setup, it was amazing for a SIA coin, right? We had an ascending breakout, a bit of expensive move kicked in, and then it got stopped short because Bitcoin started going up. You'll see that across most altcoins. When Bitcoin takes over, alts drop. What you want to watch here is for a good entry along this ascending support. It's just about touching it right now. If you want to enter, I would enter around here and set a stop loss just below the ascending pattern.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
No problem. So you want to see that this support holds. I'm just going to draw right here. You see that that yellow circle? If the price drops below that yellow circle and hits the blue line, that's where you want to exit your trade. And you always want to cut your losses quickly. The ideology here is to keep your profitable trades a lot more consistent than your losses.
Bobby, if Bitcoin continues to go up like another 500 to 1,000, is it fair to say that these altcoins like SIA coin, for example, like right now, will go down, or can they just hold their own?
It's a hit or miss. You can't really say when they're going to go up against Bitcoin or not. Yesterday they were doing a good job of that, just because the move for SIA coin started as Bitcoin was running out of momentum. But as Bitcoin's ramping up now, you want to stay on the safer side.
Bobby, I've been telling the guys, when you see violent Bitcoin moves either up or down, you will see the alts bleed for various reasons. When it goes up, because they FOMO, they want to go into Bitcoin before it gets a new all-time high. When it's violent down, they want to buy cheap Bitcoin. What do you think about that?
Are we talking about Bitcoin going down?
Violently down or violently up, not in small waves.
Yeah, so
like history taught me that, sorry for the interrupt, but history taught me that whenever Bitcoin, I've been trading for a long time in crypto, you see violent move down or violent move up, the alts will bleed. Do you agree?
Yeah, of course. When CME started trading, I anticipated alts were gonna start trending down along with Bitcoin. I know half of crypto Twitter, some of the shows you guys follow, like Crypto Rand or whatever their names are.
Yeah.
They may role play as a real trader, but they don't understand sentiment or market psychology to a certain extent. They'll tell you to buy altcoins around here before it actually dips, where capitulation kicks in, and without realizing fear is about to drive down the price another 30%. What I'm doing is waiting for the bear flag to play out, let the panic sellers do their thing, and buy the dips. When you see wicks going up and down here, it's time to enter.
That's very smart, actually. A lot of famous Twitter personas were analysts, were at 19K, they were saying, okay, next stop Bitcoin 25K, 23K. I was laughing, seriously. When I was shorting, I was laughing at them.
Yeah, I
Note
was
there are
kind of
some
skeptical too.
Sorry to punch in on that. There are some TAs proposing a dip down to maybe 987,000, which would be the 200-day moving average for Bitcoin as a possibility. How realistic would that be in the current climate?
For Bitcoin to drop down to the moving average is actually not going to be. I don't think it's going to be likely. I'm just going to turn on these moving average indicators just to show why.
Addressing the last question, I don't think that altcoins go down when Bitcoin implodes because people want to buy cheap Bitcoin. I think they go down because people are terrified the entire market is going down.
Yeah, I mean that's how psychological movements pan out, right? People feed into it.
Does anybody else hate that puzzle piece capture?
Hate it.
Hate it.
Hate it, dude.
The only thing that I like
love
about
it.
Coinbase is they don't make you go through that.
Like usually I get it really good, but when I fuck it up, when I mess it up, it takes 19 tries.
I like the puzzle because it gives you a score, how good you did. So it's like a little challenge.
I guess it's better than Google Capture.
Guys,
Selecting the street signs.
I would seriously recommend buy a headset, especially if you want to be a regular here. There's a lot of echo coming when a lot of people talk together.
That's usually just from someone's line in not being muted.
Do you seriously think that it's unlikely for BTC to drop down to its moving point average, based on the fact that there's somebody with such a big sell order in the books at the moment that's going to stop it from going and breaking this prediction that you think it's going to have?
Yeah, so we could just look at the price action here. How far along in this move? We're doing a step-by-step move upwards. Bitcoin typically takes the stairs up, and when it tops off, it takes the elevator down. All right, you see the same thing here historically. You want to backtest to prove your point.
Well said.
It takes the step up, and then when it sells off, it takes the elevator down. So we're seeing the same thing in this next move. Moving average is way down here. This is the 50-day moving average in blue. We have the 100-day moving average in red. It really doesn't seem likely it's going to retest that, and you want to again backtest to see how likely it's going to be. We're taking the steps up. Nowhere along this move do you see it retest the moving average. It's only when Bitcoin turns bearish does it retest those averages.
So when it hits 20,
your mic cut off.
Yeah, one more question, guys. Go ahead.
I'll take one more question.
Like a chart question or just a general question?
Anything really.
Do you have an opinion on Monero? It stayed under that 400 price for a long time, and then now it just made an interesting movement in the last hour.
My friend, you have to fix your microphone first.
Let's take a look.
Need some snipers. We got some snipers in the house.
I'm sniping right now. There's going to be privileges revoked and banning, and this continues. Go ahead, Bobby.
So we're looking at XMR on the 4-hour time frame. We're seeing that classic pattern that higher time frame traders love. Again, what I do when I first start trading and hunting for coins that are in play, I start on the higher time frames. In this case, Monero has been doing a lot of consolidation, so 4 hours is a good place to start. When you see this kind of consolidation, it's pretty bullish. You want to enter on a breakout. So I'm going to highlight the zone. If you see it break above this blue box, it's safe to say it's time to buy Monero. What you're seeing here, when it hits support, people buy it back up, and they swing. The scalpers are swinging like 10 to 15% move.
When it breaks out of that triangle, does it usually come back down to the triangle just to like kind of test that one more time?
Yeah, that's a very good question. When you see a pattern breakout, that it's almost, I'd say it's an 80% certainty that it retests the breakout point. So I'm going to zoom in here to a really small time frame, say 15 minutes.
So your strategy would be sort of to put a stop buy?
Can you repeat that?
You said if it breaks out of the zone, it's a buy. So would you put a stop buy?
Yeah, I would put a stop buy above a certain point.
I'm sorry, which coin? It popped out for a second.
We're looking at Monero.
This is XMR. So a breakout typically plays like this. You'll have a lot of people FOMO buying the breakout. They'll just hit buy until it reaches a certain point.
Like me, I already did it.
Exactly. And then the profit takers will kick in. People realize there's a certain level of support where it just broke out, and then rebuy along the broken resistance, which in turn becomes support. And after that, you'll establish a new trend upwards and continue making new highs from there.
A certain level of support. Let's give a round of applause here for, silently. You guys don't have to push the talk, but we want to thank Bobby Axelrod here from ONEX Capital for taking over 2 hours out of his day to give us a little bit of his perspective, and that's really what our community is about: is sharing our perspectives, sharing our strategies. He did a tremendous job here. We're gonna switch over. We just want to thank you, Bobby, so much for helping us grow. He's got a great following on Twitter. You can find him on there, twitter.com/ONEX Capital. There's links as well in the Twitch chat here. So thank you so much for taking